Yo, it's your boy Rawway. Back with another video. And basically, I'm here for the new patch, and we got a lot of new patches here. But well, new balancing things here. Basically, it was kind of just a buff and nerf thing for a lot of the players. So we're gonna go through them. Some really good buffs here. And some surprising nerfs here. So we start off with the buffs, of course. DeMar DeRozan increased defensive attribute from 559 to 600, and added to a level 2 for the solid footwork skill. And for DeRozan, if you ever see my tier list, he's in B tier for me. Like right behind Sabonis. Um, he's like a godly ass mid range strike because he has one of the best mid ranges in the game, but he doesn't. And he's like actually like a underrated slasher, but his perimeter defense is kind of terrible. So this is good, but again, 600 is a pretty mediocre stat in the game. Like all the good stats are usually 700 and up. So I don't know if this is really going to help him like they expected to, but the level 2 solid footwork skill is going to help because solid footwork helps you with not getting crossed as much. So, I mean, it's an okay buff, and I like what they're trying to do for DeRozan. I like that they noticed that his perimeter defense is something to be desired. So then we go to the Joker, Nikola Jokic. They raised his rebound from 825 to 855. That's huge. That is huge. If you do not know, Clint Capella has the best rebound in the game, and at max, which is at R7, which is R7. R7 is maxed, right? Clint Capella has the best rebound in the game at 860, and then Willie Joel Embiid has it at 855. So him moving from 825 to 855 basically makes him the third best rebounder, or tied for the second best rebounder in the game with Embiid. This is gonna help Jokic get on the court more because it's like he can rebound now. Now he can space the floor. He can throw lobs. He can catch lobs. He's gonna be able to be on the floor more. I think the problem with Jokic was, he's a defensive liability. He's not a rim protector, and then he's he was getting out rebounded by Embiid's and Capellas and Drummonds, right? So it was just better options on the big side than him, even though his passing abilities are really good and his offensive engine passive is really good. I feel like this is gonna help Jokic get played more. This is a huge buff in my opinion. To basically go from 825, which is around like maybe top 6 for bigs on the rebounding, and then for him to go to top 2, this is great. And then they add a level 3 on the corner 3 specialist, which again helps him be able to space the floor. So Jokic got a big buff, which is this might consider me putting him in S tier. I believe I had him in A tier, so I might have to put him in S tier. That's a huge buff for Jokic. Then we got James Harden going from 930 to 950 on a 3-point stat. Again, this is a big buff for Harden. But not one I really didn't expect because I think Harden's in a good spot. Personally, I have him in A tier. He's high A tier. Just because there's better players in A tier that does what he does and they can do more. I feel like Harden basically is kind of, if you don't have if you don't have like a pick and roll threat, or if you don't have, again, if you're not doing your step back shot, like, he feels kind of useless to me. Even though he does have some layup animations, he's kind of useless to me. He's not doing a step back shot, or he's not, throwing lobs. So him going up to 950 is okay, but that puts like that like I don't know. It's like that puts him with some of the best 3-point shooters in the game, but he already had one of the best threes, which it doesn't make any sense. So now you're putting him up there with the likes of Steph, Dame, and Trey, and it's like I don't. Again, I know Harden shoots threes, but are we really? I don't know if we're really putting him in that tier of shooters. But I don't think it changes him from A tier from me. But I mean, it's a noticeable buff. Then we got Luka, which is the worst superstar in the game, B tier player, high B tier player. Luka has pretty much everything in the game, but he doesn't have any kind of stat that really pokes out at you other than his layup and his pass, which I think are in the 900s. His passing skills are really good. He's a playmaker. So, I mean, that's how you should be playing Luka. You shouldn't be playing Luka as a scorer. You should be kind of playing him as a playmaker because he has so many passing badges. But he needed a buff massively, and that's what he got. Increase, right? He got an increase from 801 on his three to 851, and the mid range from 686 to 720, which is those are huge. And then the added level 3 on the running mid range shooter ability. These are huge buffs for Luke, because I think his biggest problem was that he wasn't a dangerous enough threat from the outside. You can't if he like again he wasn't keeping up with the other scorers around him. Like if Jalen Green's a better scorer than you, then you know you have a problem, especially as a superstar. So Luka needed these buffs in my opinion. I don't know if this necessarily moves him up to A tier. I would have to look. I have to play him, see how he feels. Play against him, see how it feels to guard him. But these are good buffs and trending in the Luka direction. Then we have Zion Williamson with the increased defensive attribute from which is the perimeter defense, right? From 463 to 563. Again, I don't know if this really is going to do much for Zion. I mean, it's okay. I would like to see it personally go up to 600. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, give him some crazy defensive stat, but like I would like to see it go up to 600 because I'm like 563 is not a big enough change. But I mean, it's nice to see what they're doing with Zion. I don't think Zion's I think the problem with Zion right now is that from the last beta, he changed from last beta drastically because in last beta he was able to basically bulldoze whoever was in front of him down with his dribble. And now he doesn't do that at all in this beta. So now he went from being like high A tier, maybe low S tier in last beta to being mid to low A tier. Just because he's still a dunking threat, but you have to do so much to get him like open, and get him in space. Because if somebody holds that mark button, he's pretty much useless. And especially if you're not crafty, like he's pretty much useless if you hold the mark button. His shot, I've seen Zion make threes, but again, like he's not a 3-point shooter. So he's not a mid-range shooter. So again, I think this is a good thing to make him more defensive, I guess. But I don't know if this is like a really huge buff for him. But I like what they're trying to do here. Then we got DAngelo Russell, which I wasn't expecting to get buffed at all. Increased defensive attribute from 558 to 588. Again, this is a perimeter defense, and I'm still kind of confused on this buff as well. Again, you don't really see a lot of DAngelo Russells at all. You don't really see a lot of playmakers get played at all outside of LaMelo and Trey, and maybe Sabonis. So that's why it's kind of confusing to see DAngelo Russell getting buffed. Again, and then the buff was a buff to his defensive attribute, and it only went up 30. Again, like I feel like it maybe should at least went up to 100, 600, maybe 700, if you're trying to, make kind of some kind of impact on that end. But Okay, we'll take it. And then Andrew Wiggins gets the level 2 step back skill, which is fine. Andrew Wiggins is very underrated, by the way. Don't sleep on that guy's kit at all. Please check his kit. And then we get a adjustment, increased speed of the passes during a fake shot. So I think this means for pump faking passes and then layup faking passes maybe, or just maybe just pump faking pass, um, which is good. It helps you with those people that overcommit. You could pass out of a shot easier, right? But now let's get to the nerfs. These are where this is the bread and butter of this whole thing, and there's a lot of big nerfs here. We got Brook Lopez. His exclusive dunk and block probabilities are now the scaling is from down from, all right, so the scaling was originally 20, 25, 30 to 15, 20, 20, 25. That's huge. Brook Lopez is very underrated in this game. A very good big B tier, mid to high B tier big. Can space the floor. Has a like 800. Has an 803. Has like an 800 block. Like a 750 rebound. Like, he's a really good big. And he has long range blockers, so he can actually help on the help D. And he's a rim protector. So like, he's a stretch 5 that's a rim protector. So Brook is a really good big. So the nerf to his blocking is going to be tough for those Brook Lopez mains, because that's one of the things that really makes him effective on the court. And we got Rudy Gobert with the decreased rebound going down from 833 to 801. I've seen a lot of Rudies actually snag a lot of bigs in this game. Rudy Gobert is also another mid B tier to higher B tier big. He is really good. He's the best rim protector in the game. Pure rim protector in the game. He's the best rim protector in the game. Right? And his rebound made him able to really snag a lot of bigs. So him getting nerfed on the rebound department is going to make him tougher. And I think the devs saw that he was a little bit too able to, oppress the game a little bit too much on the defensive side of the ball and secure rebounds. So I think that's a good nerf for him. I still think he's B tier, even just with his rim protection alone. I still think he's B tier. And 801 rebound is not bad. There's a lot of bigs in this game have like 700 and under. So I think he'll be fine. And then we got Bogdan. Bogdan is actually getting a lot of play from a lot of players. So surprisingly, because if you didn't know that Bogdan, right, had a 925 3, which was the 4th best in the game, right? So basically, if you leave him open, it's going in. So he was like that corner sitter in that left corner, because that's where his hot zones are. That left corner to the left wing. So if you used him there and he was left open, it was going in every time. So he goes down from a 925 to an 890, which is, and then he has the removed height advantage, which is, that's tough. If you're a Bogdan player, that's tough. I use Bogdan, so that's tough. But 890 is still good. Still a really, really, really good for 3. So he'll be fine. In his hot zone, he'll be fine. But yeah, that's still a big nerf to go from 925 to 890. But then we have Giannis, right? Giannis, I think, is probably the most overrated big in the game. He's still really good. He's still the top of A tier. But he's still the most overrated big in the game to me. But his nerf is going to be a decreased block attribute from 812 to 790, and his speed is getting nerfed from 906 to 870. These are kind of huge nerfs for Giannis, not gonna lie, because his best things about him was his speed and his ability to block. So now you're taking away some of his best attributes, was him being able to kind of guard every position on the court. And then now you take that away with his speed, right? Him being one of the fastest players in this game, and him being, I think, the fastest big in the game. And now you're nerfing that. So this doesn't help Giannis. I still think I he probably would be, yeah, I still think he's high A tier, but like, oh man, that's that's tough, right? That's tough as a Giannis player here, because again, I think Giannis is overrated because you can lock up his slashing ability outside of his Euro dunk. All his dunks are pretty blockable, and he's not really a good shooter at all. Again, if you're not using him for his defense, like his speed and his defense to kind of guard certain players, or using it for help defense, I don't really know what again what you're really getting value out of Giannis for, because he gets snagged by other bigs. Again, you can lock up his slashing ability outside of his Euro dunk consistently. He's not a good shooter. Again, and if you're not a high IQ kind of defensive player, you're not really getting value with him. So that's why I'm like, but still, his stats are so good, well rounded. Like, he has good strength, he has good speed, he has good block, he has solid perimeter defense. His dunk is really good when he does get his dunks off. So I'm like, he has to be an A tier, but he's just he's overrated as fuck to me. And then we have Anthony Davis getting his exclusive movement speed boost bonus is getting nerfed from, which it was originally scaling from 0.25, 0.35, and then 0.5 to 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4. I think this is a solid nerf for him, because AD is the best big in the game, just because of his help defense. In the long range blocker, if you look at his passive, which is skyscraper, it helps him with those, basically help defending. Yeah, this is a big nerf, because AD can basically be everywhere on the court, especially if you're building him right. He could be everywhere on the court, and him getting the nerf to his movement speed is gonna help to not make him as oppressive on the defensive end. But I still think he's gonna be fine regardless. I still think he's S tier. But yeah, these are some very interesting decisions by the dev team to put some buffs and nerfs out, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. Let me know who you think should be nerfed, who you think should have been buffed. Should these players have been buffed or nerfed? Do they still need more buffs and nerfs? Yeah, let me know. But that's it, bro. We out.